אדון עולם אשר מלך בטרם כל.
We're on air. Okay, guys, welcome to our new time. It's good?
Yeah.
Welcome to our new time, Monday night. We already were mitaken. We fixed all the Wednesdays. So now we're here to mitaken the Mondays. And Thursdays. Exactly. So, welcome to our Monday night shiur. Our shiur is sponsored by Moshe Chaim ben Shemuel, להצלחתו לפרנסתו, נשמת מיכאל ben Esther. And also, I also want to say that our shiur should be להצלחת כל הרווקים, all the single people, may they get married. הצלחה, ישועות, פרנסה, רפואה, and shalom bayit.
Amen.
So, we just came out of Pesach. We're in Sifrat Omer. We're in the week of Givurah. We know in Sifrat Omer we leave it's like 7 days of Nida, but instead of 7 days, the Tum'ah of Mitzrayim is 7 weeks. And every week we're fixing one Midah, one attribute. This week we're fixing the Givurah. This week we have to work on our anger, work on our kamtzanut, being cheap, work on our Givurah, being kapdan at home, being too strict at home. That's called working on your Givurah. That's our job this week. The previous week was chesed. Work to be kind, giving, work to do gimilut chasadim, to break your borders. So, coming out of the Pesach, we had a tragedy in the Jewish people. Unfortunately, look how bad the human mind works. We see one thing, we right away get used to it. How many months ago was Pittsburgh? Maybe
6 months,
not even 6 months ago. When a gunman came in and just started shooting at Jews. Okay, some said it was like this, it was like, what does it matter? Jewish people are an attack on one Jew is an attack on all the Jews. And then 6 months later, maybe even less, suddenly, on the last day of Pesach, on Shabbat, right before Seudat Mashiach, in a Chabad house of all places, now nobody could say, oh, they were like this, they were like that, no excuses. In a Chabad house, right before they were reading the Haftarah of Yemot HaMashiach, the rabbi said he went outside to wash his hands right before he was going to read the Haftarah. And what Haftarah is that day? The Haftarah of Yemot HaMashiach in Isaiah, the days of Mashiach. That a goy will not fight another goy. Od hayom benov le'amod. And suddenly a gunman comes in.
6 months exactly.
6 months exactly. And suddenly a gunman comes in, an anti-Semite, a Nazi, a white nationalist, with a rifle, in where? Which country? Which state? California, what is it? It was San Diego. You can't say it was bad weather. It was cold. He had a depression from San Diego is one of the nicest places in the world.
The best weather.
Maybe the best weather in the whole world. 70 degrees all the time. It's not humid. There's a nice breeze all the time. This goy, Yemach Shemo v'zichro, comes inside a Chabad house on the last day of Pesach. And which day of the Omer? The last day of Chesed Yuma de Kuleu. Chesed de Malchut. The Chesed of Malchut. Malchut is kingship, which is the time of the Mashiach. And he takes a rifle and he starts to shoot at Jewish people, killing one Jewish lady. And a miracle happened, Rabotai. A miracle that he was gonna shoot more, and his rifle got jammed. Who knows how many more casualties there could have been? Of course, he took off 2 fingers of the Rav. He shot off 2 fingers of the Rav. Rabotai, what does this mean for us? 6 months ago, but you know what? The news already they got used to. You know this. It's a known thing right now in America. People come inside with guns and start shooting people. Okay, the Jewish people said, we the Jews, we said, okay, it happened in some place in Texas and this and that. It's not gonna happen over here. It's not gonna happen there. You should know, San Diego, California, all these places. It's basically a warm version of New York. It's the same thing. These are blue states. It's democratic states. This is not red states. The problem is here. 3 weeks ago in Regal Park, Nazi signs all over. One Jewish guy, he was in jail for some reason. He came out and he said, everyone over there is an anti-Semite. It's a known thing. It's a known thing. I don't want to say who it was, but it's a known thing. So the question is this just a problem? But are all the signs telling us something? If a person knows a little bit about Jewish history, we know one thing. The Jewish people have never stayed in a country for more than 200 years. It's a known thing in Jewish history. After 200 years, something happens. And if it's not 200 years and there's constant problems, constant issues, constant killings. Bar Minan. So what does this shooting have to do with Sefirat HaOmer? And more importantly, what does it have to do with Yemot HaMashiach? Because it's not a shooting of some random place. The lady that was killed was a religious woman. She came to shul to say Hashkava on her mother. And she herself got to say, they're going to say now Hashkava for her. What's the meaning to us? Why do these things happen? Is this any connection to Yemot HaMashiach? Because this did happen right before the Haftarah. And to understand this, first of all, we have to understand that Yemot HaMashiach is not a fairy tale. People see it as a fairy tale. Growing up, we see it as a fairy tale. I remember as a kid, in school, there was a book we used to read as a kid. It's a coloring book. Well, not coloring, it's color for kids. And they show over there when Mashiach is going to come, every grape is going to be the size of a building. And they show like color, like drawings, and how the father is taking this huge grape. And how a dog, and how a lamb and a wolf is walking together. All these kinds of weird, not weird, like fairy tales. And you look at it and you're like, wow, it's so amazing. This is Yemot HaMashiach. It means everyone is equal. There is no more, I'm above you, you're above me. Do you know what that reminds me of? Sdom va'Amorah. Communism. What does communism state? Everyone has to be equal. Sure. But that's not what Judaism is. That's not Yemot HaMashiach. That's not what Yemot HaMashiach is. Yemot HaMashiach is not the end. It's just the last stop to Olam Haba. It's the last stop to Olam Haba. What does that mean? Yemot HaMashiach is not what we're aiming for. You're not supposed to aim for the times of Mashiach. You just have to want Mashiach because it leads to Olam Haba. What is Olam Haba? The resurrection of the dead. Before that is Yemot HaMashiach. The Gemara in Masechet Sanhedrin says, how many years is Yemot HaMashiach? They all the time, they come to Rav Chaim Kanievsky and they tell him all the time, Mashiach, should we vote for the next parliament? Should we vote for the next country? Why? Mashiach is coming. 2 years ago there was a fight between Karim and Crimea and Russia. He says, all the people in Ukraine, Rav Chaim Kanievsky said Mashiach is coming. No, that's not what he meant, Mashiach is coming. What he meant, these tzaddikim, chachamim, the big chachamim, if you every night do tikkun chatzot and you cry over the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, Gesundheit. If you every night, if you every day, if you look in your tefillah and you see 3 times in every tefillah, Matzmiach Keren Yeshua, Tishkon Betoch Yerushalayim, Baruch Ata Hashem Ga'al Yisrael. What's going to happen if you really pay attention to it? What are you going to live? You're going to live Yemot HaMashiach. So for you, thinking about tomorrow is an illusion. Right now, I believe Mashiach could come. But we see in the prophets that Mashiach could come in two ways. Ba'ita and Achishena. It could either come in its time, or it could either be hastened. Now there's an issue with this. What's the issue with Mashiach coming before his time? First of all, who is Mashiach? If you open up the prophets, we have 24 books in Judaism, correct? 5 books of Moses. We have the prophets and the writings. If you look at the prophets, where is it going to talk about Mashiach? Not in the 5 books of Moses. It talks about the end of days in Parshat V'etchanan. It doesn't talk about Mashiach. You're never going to find in any one of the prophets the term Mashiach connected to a king. Never. Mashiach means anointed one. Who do we call Mashiach? The Kohen Gadol. We say that David HaMelech was Mashuch. He was anointed. Shaul was Mashuch. But we never call them Mashiach. The anointed one. The Gemara says something very interesting in Masechet Sanhedrin. Because if Mashiach is alive right now, the Gemara says this, then he's Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. At that time, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi was alive. It says, the Gemara says, if Mashiach is alive right now, he's Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. If he's one of the dead, that means somebody's going to be resurrected from the dead, he's going to be Mashiach. Here we see that there is an idea that somebody could come back from the dead and be Mashiach. It's going to be Daniel. Why not David? Isn't David Mashiach? Isn't Moshe Mashiach? What? Like Daniel and Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, what's the connection over here? If he's one of the dead, he's Daniel. If he's one of the living, it's Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi. Very interesting things. We know Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, his father didn't even come from the line of King David. It was from his mother's side. Hillel HaZaken's father was not from the tribe of David. He was not from the family of David. He was from the tribe of Judah, but not from the family of David. And the Gemara says, back in the Gemara's time, which was about 1,500 years ago, that Mashiach's time is going to take place from the beginning of creation till Mashiach came. So let's say Mashiach comes now. There's one opinion like this, which is we're in the year 5,779. Mashiach's reign is going to last for 5,779 years. If that's what the Gemara says, one of the opinions. One opinion says from the time of Noach till then. One opinion is, well, there's even an opinion Mashiach already came. He came and he left. Rabbi Hillel says Mashiach came and he left. Mashiach was King Chizkiyahu. There's no Mashiach. He came already. So what are we waiting for? Olam Haba. That's what we're waiting for, according to this opinion. Of course, there's many explanations to what he said. There's so many different kinds of... And then we have the most interesting saying of all about the time of Mashiach. Rav Katina. Rav Katina was pasken by the Ari HaKadosh. He said the world could only last for... Our reality, this is this world, could only last for 6,000 years. After the year 6,000, that means when we're going to say Achot Ketana and the Rosh Hashanah of the year 6,000, we're going into a new reality, which is the 1,000 years of Olam Haba. What's going to happen then? The world will be destroyed, flooded, and Hashem will give wings to tzaddikim, and they will fly above the waters, and they'll never get tired. Once again, these things, it's like, it doesn't make sense. This is a parable. What does it mean the world will be flooded? God swore, God doesn't lie, that He'll never bring a flood again. And what does that mean that Hashem will give us wings? All these things, but we have another interesting machloket inside the Gemara. Rav and Shmuel. Rav said when Mashiach comes, it's going to be a fairy tale. Shmuel says when Mashiach comes, nothing is going to change. Nothing is going to change. Only one thing is going to change. The Jewish people will never be persecuted again. That's it. It's the only difference. We'll have a Beis HaMikdash, we'll have our own country, and no more persecution. So what happens to the big grapes? And everyone's going to be rich and this and that? No. And who's the head of the Mekubalim? Who's the Mekubal of Mekubalim? Who's the father of the mystical teachings? The Ari HaKadosh, thank you. Who's the Ari HaKadosh follow over here? Who's the Ari HaKadosh says halacha is like who? Halacha. Shmuel. That it's not a fairy tale.
Rambam.
And a Rambam too. It's not a fairy tale. In fact, the coming of Mashiach has to be in a very natural way. War is natural, persecution is natural. So what's going on over here? What happened to all the promises? I knew a guy once. I don't know if you remember, Abba. There was one guy that was once a religious guy working in your house. And he said, I believe in everything in the Torah, except for one thing. Yemot HaMashiach. Remember? Long time ago it was. Well, religious guy. Everything. He said, I believe in everything. One thing I don't believe in. Yemot HaMashiach. It doesn't make sense to me. You know why it doesn't make sense to him? Because he was told that Yemot HaMashiach is what? It's a fairy tale. But Yemot HaMashiach is not a fairy tale. It's just a natural occurrence of things. Like America rules the world right now. It's known as a world power. The Jewish people will be known as a world power. It happened before, during the time of King Solomon. They said during the time of King Achav, he ruled from one end of the world to the other. He was looking for Eliyahu Hanavi, and he told Eliyahu Hanavi, there wasn't a place where I didn't search for you. The Gemara says, you know what that means? He ruled the whole world. So he literally searched everywhere. And he couldn't find Eliyahu. So it happened before.
That's what he was looking for.
That's what he was looking for. So what happens? So to understand the coming of Mashiach and to understand this, I want to tell you one thing from the Rashash HaKadosh. Rabbeinu HaRashash. When Rav Katina said that the world is going to be 6,000 years, that's emet la'amitut ha'inyan. The Rashash said, why does the world going to be 6,000 years? How many days does it take to be tahor from the nida of Mitzrayim, the gilulim of Mitzrayim? How many days does it take? 7 weeks, right? Which is 49 days. So we see the number 7, right? And at the end of the 7th week, what do we get? The Torah. You have to think about it that this whole world is one whole big Sefirat HaOmer. It's one whole big Sefirat HaOmer. Instead of 7 weeks, it's 7,000 years, says the Rashash. The first 1,000 years, the first 2,000 years was total mayhem. Mabul, Sdom V'Amorah. Comes the next 2,000 years, Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov. We're getting to a tikkun. Comes the next 2,000 years, which is the Yesod. We're in the 6,000. We're in the 6th millennium. The Yesod. We're getting to more of a, like you said, these days, which person doesn't walk with $1,000? Every person walks around today. He's worth at least $1,000. Who doesn't walk today with $1,000 phone? Who doesn't walk with $1,000 phone? Who? Who doesn't walk today with something expensive? You know, my wife was working with someone in a pharmacy, a tech. She had a Rolex on her. So she said, she said to my wife, you know how much this Rolex cost? $18,000. Stainless steel. It just has the logo on it. 18,000. Who today doesn't live in a state of so much shefa? Even going shefa, so much shefa in the world. We don't appreciate it. We should appreciate it. You know, every time we go to the bathroom, ask our parents, our grandparents. Or Victor Miller always brings us down. He says, "Do you know what it was to go to the bathroom back in the day?" The Gemara has loads of stories how people were scared to go to the bathroom. One rabbi, Rava, his wife used to go with him to the bathroom. She used to put her head on his head all the time because they were scared to be inside. It was a place of mazikin. Abaye's nurse, she made a baby sheep for him to go with him, all like a pet, to go to the bathroom. What it was to go to the bathroom back in the day. When I went to Mezhbuzh, back when I first got married, we went to Baal Shem Tov, we went to Ukraine. Me and my wife. We went to Mezhbuzh over there. It was like I stepped into a different world. The bathroom over there was like I would hold it. I wouldn't go there. You know, we don't appreciate today. We're in a time of shefa. All the Jewish people live in places of shefa. You can't say there's any except for Chabad the Chabad emissaries, the shluchim, only maybe they go to all these kind of weird third world countries, but we live in a place of shefa. And it's unbelievable. So we are in the last 2,000 years of Hod and Yesod. We are already feeling the ha'ara. What's the ha'ara? The light of Mashiach. Whereas we don't appreciate it. Of course we're not going to appreciate it. You know what it was back in the day when we were kids? Just to watch a video, we had to put the VCR, and the VCR needed a cassette, and the cassette used to rip, and the film used to break. Today, there is a kid right now, 7 months old, he's getting his first iPad. I'm serious, that's what they say. Researchers say there's, right now, children getting their first iPads at the age of 8-9 months old. We're in a time of big shefa. Today they say that our generation, because we have smartphones, we've become so dumb. There's no kind of thing we calculate tips anymore. To calculate $100 tip split between 10 people, we need a phone. Split between 10 people. You understand? It's crazy. We need a smartphone for that because sometimes too much shefa is not good too. But we don't appreciate it. But this is the coming of Mashiach. So we see that this 6,000 years is really kind of a Sfirat HaOmer for the world. We need 7 weeks. Now what's the 7,000 year? The 7,000 year is what? It's Olam Haba already. But do you know what? Olam Haba is also a part of the process. That means after Olam Haba, the 7,000 year, what happens next?
New world.
No. There's no new worlds. The Ari Kadosh crossed out that theory. He said that theory doesn't exist. What happens after the 7,000 year?
Same thing.
We go back to Hashem. We go back to the Ein Sof.
We all die.
But don't worry, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt. But that's the process.
So what happens?
So it's kind of a seventh. What happens? Do you know that really, Chassidus teaches this. The Mittler Rebbe says that right now God allows opposites to exist. The whole point of this world is to make everything one. Really, we are already inside the Ein Sof. Hashem just makes an illusion that you are separated. There's separations. Our job is to reveal that there is no separation between us. That's Osrot HaChaim, it's Kabbalah, it's the whole point of Kabbalah, of Hasidut, Kabbalah. So really, Rav Katina said this world is 6,000 years, the material world is 6,000 years, the 7,000 years, the last week of Sifrat HaOmer. And how do we know that we're coming to the time of Mashiach? The Mishnah in Sotah teaches us. What's the sign? Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol Omer. Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol says, Miyom shecharav Beit HaMikdash, from the time that Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, Sharu Chachimaya leMeve Kesafraya. Chachamim became Sofrim. What does that mean, Rashi says? The level of Chachamim today was what back then a teacher of children was. And the Sofrim became like Chazanim. That means to be a Chazan is a very low level. And people today in shuls, they kill each other to be Chazanim. I was talking to one rabbi, they say there's Kusho Kushi going over to be a Chazan in the shuls. Who's gonna raise their voice more? And the Chazanim are like who today of what was back then? Am Haaretz. Am Haaretz. And the Am Haaretz is getting less and less and less. If he's coming less and less, what does that mean? Gradually, everybody is becoming less and less. And as soon as Chachamim is going to be who? Am Haaretz of back then. Ve'ein shoel en mevakesh. No one's asking. Shoel means to ask. Mevakesh also means to ask. So what does that mean? Shoel u'mevakesh. Why two different lishonot of shoel u'mevakesh? No one's asking. That means nobody wants to learn Torah shebichtav. And mevakesh, nobody wants to learn Torah shebal peh. Al mi yesh li shayen, so who do we rely on? Al avinu sheba shamayim, on our Father in heaven. That means Rabbi Eliezer HaGadol is basically saying there is no hope. It means you have to get so low to appreciate what's going to be in Mashiach's time. If we don't get that low, we won't appreciate it. Yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, the Kol of a Rebbe of Israel passed away. I don't know if you guys watched the video, it was in Hebrew. He was saying a story, what he saw. He said, every day I live Yom HaShoah. Every day I live the Holocaust Remembrance Day. He said, he had a very feminine appearance. The reason was because the Nazis did human experiments. And on him, what they did was they pumped him with female hormones. Understand? So that's why he came out. He's like that. He has a very feminine voice and he has no bodily hair. You saw his beard is like 3-4 things. He said, I remember seeing inside the concentration camp how one Nazi was smoking a cigarette. And he came to one Jewish boy, and he took out his eye with the cigarette. He says, if a person would hear the yelling at that time, he would never forget it for the rest of his life. And then the next day, he took out his other eye with the cigarette. That's what they were going through. You understand? And then he said, I remember waking up every morning to get a piece of bread. First, we had to all stand naked. And the Katzin, Yemach Shemo V'Zichro, used to stand on top. And first, before anybody gets his bread, he has to shoot 10 people every morning. Kill 10 people every morning. Because that's the stuff we went through. Because every day for me, and today nobody remembers. When do they remember? On Holocaust Remembrance Day. Every day has to be Holocaust. Every day has to remember Churban Beit HaMikdash. Every day you have to remember the Spanish Inquisition. And if we did, Mashiach would have come a long time ago. But the problem is we only remember it once a year. That's what he said. And unfortunately what happened to Am Yisrael, we lost a very big tzaddik. He passed away yesterday. Yesterday he passed away. And he says, the Gemara says, Bi'ikvot Mishicha, at the end of days, Chutzpah Yisgeh. Chutzpah, brazenness, will reach enormous heights. Kids will be brazen, there will be chutzpah, no respect for elders, no respect for parents, no respect for anyone. Ve'hayoker yamir, and things will get expensive. Whoever thought that for a piece of metal you would pay $1,000? A phone, stainless steel watch with a crown on it would be $18,000. Hagefen yiten pirya, there will be a lot of wine. V'hayayin beyoker. Rashi says, what does that mean, yayin beyoker? The wine will be expensive. Not that the wine will be expensive, but sha'akol oskin b'mishtaot. Everybody is just dealing with what? Kaif. Everybody just wants to have kaif all the time. Just give me pleasure, 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 pleasure. Malchut ta'apech leminut. Politicians, politics, parliaments, prime ministers, everything will become minut. Atheism. No God, no Baruch Hashem. Somebody was telling me, I think you were telling me this the other day, there is a thing in Congress going on right now to take out from the dollar bill, in God we trust. Yeah. There's a diyun going on right now. That's another sign. This is ikvot mishicha. Ein tochecha. What's ein tochecha? There's no rebuke. Ein lecha adam, Rashi explains, there is not a human being that could rebuke someone because everybody is doing everything. You can't rebuke somebody if you're doing the same averah. So before Mashiach comes, everyone will be doing so many averot. You can't give anybody rebuke, halachically. Beit vad tiyeh liznut. Beit vad is a place where people gather up. What are they going to gather up for? Znut. I don't want to say, everybody knows what that is. V'galil yecharev. V'na'arim pnei zekanim yalbinu. Children will embarrass adults. We see that. We see it all the time. Children will embarrass adults. There's no respect for the elders anymore. And there won't be until Mashiach comes. Zekenim ya'amdu mibnei ktanim. People who are old will stand up for the young.
That's true.
You could understand it in two ways. When there's a katan talmid chacham that will walk in, the zaken has to get up for him.
But it's a bad thing.
It's a mashma. It's a bad thing. Zekenim are standing because the na'ar will not give the zaken his place to sit. So he's omed mipanav. There's no respect, and I see it all the time. I see it even with older people. They do it to people older than them. It's unbelievable. Person 50, 60 years old, he's looking at a person who's 80 and he's cursing him. And then he asks how come his kids are doing that to him. I see it. Chochmat sofrim tisrach. Talmidei Chachamim, their chokhmah will be considered nothing. You know what tisrach means? It's smelly. It's disgusting. It's not something with value. Something that's masreach, you throw in the garbage. V'yerechet yimaesu, people will hate. They will be, the yimaesu, disgusted by. People will be disgusted by people with fear of heaven. People who have fear of chet, people will be disgusted by them. V'amet tiyeh ne'ederet. You're going to look for truth and you're not going to find it. The musag, the idea of truth will not be found. Ben menavel av. The son makes his father, you know what menavel means? He makes him embarrassed. He embarrasses his father. Bat kama be'ima, a daughter will get up against her mother. Kala bechamota. A daughter-in-law will get up against her mother-in-law. Oive ish anshe beito. A person's own enemies is his family.
Sure.
That's the coming of Mashiach. That's the coming of Mashiach. Pnei hador kipnei akelev. The generation's face is the face of a dog. Haben eino mitbayesh me'aviv. A son will not be embarrassed in front of his father. He'll do anything in front of his father. There's no embarrassment already. When we were kids, we were afraid to smoke when elders used to come. Today, THC, CBD, oils, everything in front of the parents. And the parents, not only can't they say anything, as a Rebbe, I see it, as a teacher, they're in denial. He's not doing anything. They're in denial. Va'alma yesh such a bad reality. What do? En lanu al mi leishayin. We have nobody to rely on. Ela al avinu shebashamayim. Only on our Father in heaven.
Last resort.
And you know what? All these things are already happening. So how come we're not tearing our heads apart? Because we got used to it. It's become our reality. How come in the concentration camps, people, lo aleinu, it was 4 years, 5 years, they were there. How come they didn't just kill themselves? They got used to it. It became the norm. They stood in front of that Yamach Shemo, that guy, every morning. He shot 10 people. It was normal. That's what it means when the Jews were running away from Paro, they wanted to go back. They were too used to being slaves. 210 years of slavery, you can't get that out of yourself. That's one of the most amazing things we have to remember in Mitzrayim. You know why we remember Mitzrayim so much? Look at any nation in the world that was slaves. They're still slaves. The way they act, the way they this, it's slavery. A free slave. But you look at a Jew, what is he? He's a king. It's like Hashem scrubbed away the slavery from us by Sfirat Omer, of course. So Hashem says, remember who you once were. I don't want you to act like a slave, but I want you to remember that you were. That's Sefirat Omer. This is the meaning of Ikvet HaMeshicha. So I think it's safe to say from this Gemara, Rabotai, that we are Be'ikvet HaMeshicha. Am I right or wrong? I think it's very safe to say that. I think all these things have come true and are happening right now. It's been happening. I remember hearing this lecture as a kid. But Ikvet HaMeshicha doesn't mean Mashiach is coming tomorrow. Doesn't mean he's coming tomorrow. The Rashash says we have 6,000 years of work. Every year is a new job. Today, I can't work for tomorrow. And tomorrow, I can't do the job of after that. So that means Mashiach will come when, according to the Rashash? In the year 6,000. That's what it means. But we have a silver lining. What's the silver lining? The Ben Ish Chai in his book Od Yosef Chai, Parashat Vayetze, says that our mother, Rachel Imenu, had a conversation with God. And she asked God, she told God, Hashem, at the destruction of the first temple, she told him, why are you punishing them? It doesn't make sense for you to punish them. He said, why? First Avraham went in, Yitzchak went in, Yaakov went in, Moshe went in. Moshe! We don't even know his grave, because if you would pray by his grave, everything would come true. Even he went in, didn't work. Rachel walks in. She tells Hashem, it doesn't make sense that you're punishing them. Why? Because why are you punishing them? Because they cheated on you? Because they cheated on you? With what they cheated on you? Stone? Wood? What? What's Avodah Zarah if not a statue? He says, not only wasn't I jealous of my sister, I even gave her the signs. Simanim. Just, if I wasn't jealous, how can you be? Hashem said, you have a point. Because of you, I'm going to bring them back from the Galut. There's a silver lining. I'm bringing them back. There's a very big issue with this midrash. Why? Because God, what did God promise her? We're going to have a Geula? But He already promised that in the Torah. Parshat Ve'etchanan. It says over there, V'shafti Shivut Yaakov. Rachel is not going to ask God the same thing. He already promised that, and He's never going to change that. Because God doesn't lie. So what did He promise Rachel? The Ben Ish Chai said He promised her to bring her back, to bring the Jews back before the year 6000. That was the promise. And that's what she accepted. And that's why out of everyone, what do we call Tikkun Hatzot? Tikkun Rachel. Everything is Rachel. Bezot Yavo Aaron. Bezot Diber. The word Zot is the Shekhinah. Everything is the Malchut. Malchut, Malchut, Malchut. When the terrorist attack happened, Chesed Malchut. Everything is Malchut. Everything is Rachel. Because us coming back from the Galut depends on Rachel. If not, we're going to go back in the year 6000. But the fact that Rachel made this deal with God, she made ta'ana, she was our lawyer, she was our protector, she was our defendant. God said, I'm going to bring them back before. The only question is, how much before? And that's the fight inside the Gemara. Some say 70 years before, some say 40 years before, some say from the time of Noah, and all these things mean something. But He's going to bring us back before. How? Those years that we're supposed to make a birur nitzotzot, bring up the sparks, we're going to do it a different way. A mass teshuvah movement, the Gemara says. We need a mass teshuvah, because teshuvah is a time machine. Either you go back in time, or either you could go forward in time. But the only problem is, we know our generation. And there is no mass teshuvah movement. What was, always will be. So the Zohar says, I'm going to give you a hint what to do. Beda yifkun Yisrael min galuta berachamei. With this, I'm going to bring them back before with mercy. It's not for nothing they said Beda chibura. With this book. The Zohar Kadosh. If you learn the Zohar Kadosh, the Zohar says, if you learn Zohar, if you learn Torah Tasot, if you learn Kabbalah, I'm going to bring him back. We're going to go forward in time. And we are mentioning the Sulam HaKadosh. We're going forward in time. There's only one book that can make us do that. The Zohar HaKadosh. The secrets of the Torah. Why? What is going forward in time means? That means the gap. What's time? It's a gap. If I take that gap and I'm saying there is no gap, everything is really one, what happens? I jumped in time. What is the only book that reveals openly the oneness of God? Zohar HaKadosh. If we learn the secrets of the Torah, we're gonna bring the Torah. We're gonna bring the Geulah with Rachamim before it's time. And I don't have enough time to go. I don't want to take. It's already late. I don't want to go so deep into it. I'm just gonna read you one small thing over here. What's gonna happen at the end of days? In the book of first of all, I'm gonna read you the book of Zechariah. I just want to tell you guys one sigula from Rav Salman Mutzafi. I said a sigula. Rav Salman Mutzafi. He says if a person wants to have a good year, by the time of Rosh Hashanah, you have to finish all the Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. The whole Tanakh, all 24 books, once a year, you have to finish everything.
joking.
No.
Reading?
Just by reading it. If you could do it with Rashi or Pirushim, Malbim, it's even better. And all the Mekubalim HaKadoshim used to do it. Everyone. And I could attest to the fact that first of all, not only do you gain Yirat Shamayim, because there's so much in the prophets that you guys don't know about, so much that could give you guys Yirat Shamayim, so much that could make you not only believe in the end of days, that you will know that Mashiach has to come, he must come, and he will come. I want to read you one small thing in the book of Zechariah. Zechariah was one of the prophets, one of the last prophets, Zechariah. He says in chapter 13, a prophecy, Cherev Uri al Ro'i. He said, at the end of days, I'm going to bring a sword on the nation that I gave the Jews to. God gave a nation as a pikadon. How do you say pikadon? A deposit. He gave the Jews as a deposit, like, as he's watching over. There's a nation that's watching over us right now, protecting us. There will be a sword on that nation at the end. Va'al gever amiti. And on the nation that was friends with us. Because they weren't really friends. Ne'um Hashem. Tzivakot. Hachit haro'eh. I'm going to smite that shepherd. That's Edom. Because the Gemara said Edom, Hashem gave Edom Am Yisrael during the Galut. This is called Galut, Edom. Utifotzena atzon. We're called the tzon. The tzon is the flock, the sheep. Vashivoti yadi ala tzoarim, and I'm going to bring my hand down on them. V'haya bechol haaretz num Hashem pi shnayim. The whole world, 2/3 of the world, yikaretu. Kaddish al Yisrael. V'ashlishit yivater ba, and 1/3 of the world will stay. Rashi says, the 1/3 of the world will convert to Judaism. What's 1/3 of the world right now? 2 billion? More? 3 billion. Imagine 3 billion people converting to Judaism.
We have 9 billion people.
Veheveti tashlish, but God said, I'm not gonna trust those converts. I'm gonna put them in fire. Utzraftim kitzrof et hakesef, and I'm gonna make them pure like you purify silver. Ubchantim, and I'm gonna check their purity like I kibchon et hazahav, like I check gold. So that means it's not talking about the Jewish people. It's talking about the goyim that will convert in the end of days. Hashem will check if they're real converts. Hu yikra b'shmi v'ani enei oto. If they will be real converts, I will accept them. He will call in my name and I will accept him. Amarti amihu, I will call him my nation like he's Am Yisrael. V'hu yomar, Hashem Elokai, hine yom bala Hashem bo'er katanur. A day is coming, Zechariah said, and it's burning like an oven. Va'asafti kol hagoyim el Yerushalayim. I'm bringing all the Jews to Jerusalem. La milchama, for a war. This is a prophecy. I'm going to bring all the goyim to Yerushalayim for war. V'nilkeda ha'ir, and Jerusalem will fall in their hands. V'nashasu abatim, and all the houses will be destroyed. V'anashim tishakavna chas v'shalom, and the woman will be taken by force. V'yatza chetzi ha'ir bagola, and half of Yerushalayim will go out to the desert. They will go out from the country. They will go to exile. V'yeter ha'am lo yikaret menir, but half of the nation will stay. Like in a siege. And what's going to happen that time, says Zechariah? Look at this prophecy. V'yatza Hashem v'nilcham bagoyim ha'em. God will come out at that time when it's going to be Et Sara Yaakov. He will come out and he will fight with them. Ki yom hilachamo b'yom krav, like a day when a warrior fights in a war. What day is that? When do we say Hashem was Ish Milchama? We say it every day. And Az Yashir Moshe. And on that day, God's legs will stand on Har HaZeitim, on the Mount of Olives, which is across Jerusalem. V'nifka Har HaZeitim, and the whole mountain will split into two. Chetzio Misracha ve'yam Magea Gedola me'od. V'nastem ge'arai, and the people will run away. V'nastem, and you will run, because the whole Israel will shake from Hashem on Har Zeitim. And it's going to be an earthquake like the time of Uzziah Melech Yehuda. And Rashi says over here, not only will there be an earthquake, it's going to be thunder and like the day of Har Sinai. The world will shake. V'haya b'yom hahu, and it will be on that day, the time of Mashiach. Lo yeh or yekarot, there will be no light in the world. The kipaon, the world will turn into ice. The sun will go away from earth, and the world will be frozen. So much for global warming. Yom echad, and there will be one day, hu yivada Hashem. That day is not going to be not day, not night. And it will be towards the night, there will be light. It's a very scary prophecy.
Are we talking about a time frame? Is it a whole day or is it?
It will be not day and not night.
No, but I'm saying the whole.
We're going back before the times of the lights. V'haya b'yom hahu, and then on that day towards the morning, yetzu mayim chayim miYerushalayim. Live water will come out of Jerusalem. V'haya Hashem lamelech al kol haaretz, and it will be on that day God will be the king over the world. B'yom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shmo echad. That's what we say at the end of Aleinu L'Shaveach all the time. Whoever sees this prophecy, it's impossible not to shake. And that's just Zechariah. I didn't read you Yechezkel. And I didn't read you what's going on in Yoel. If you're going to hear what's going on over there, it's going to be, it says Hashem will rain on the world, dam, esh, v'timrot ashan. Blood, fire, and smoke.
How come we have all these different prophecies?
All of them prophesied about the end of days. These three prophets.
Okay, but which one is the truth one?
They're all true. And they're all going to happen.
Which one?
Yoel, Zechariah, and Yechezkel.
Not necessarily.
Hopefully it will come in a good way. But I heard, and so I'm going to end with, it says it will be on that day, it will come out Mayim Chayim from Yerushalayim. What does that mean, Mayim Chayim?
That is Chaim.
That's Etz HaChaim.
Why did those come from?
That's Rabbi Chaim Vital. Tichiyat HaMetim. If we're going to learn Torah Tasod, if we're going to understand the Pnimiyut Torah, it's going to be Mayim Chaim Yerushalayim. There's a lot to say on this subject coming of Mashiach, but I just want to let you guys know it's very close. If already in America, it's coming to the point where it says, Herev Uri al Roi, which is what's happening right now, in my opinion, it means that we have to be more into the Pnimiyut Torah. As only Teshuvah and Gemilut Chasadim is going to save us. May Hashem bless us with bracha, hatzlacha, yeshuot gedolah, parnasah tova, shefa, and save us in the end of days. Baruch Adonai le'olam. Amen ve'amen. You want to say Kaddish?